So hey guys, Stephen Boglin here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is establishing healthy boundaries. Fuck. So hey y'all, happy Wednesday. If I had a chair, I would turn it around so I could sit on the top of it and be like, let me drive with you guys. If I had a wall, I'd lean against it and be like, my desk is actually here, but I'd lean against it and be like, come on dudes, let's have a chat. Man, I miss those grade school fucking, what do they call them? The people you talked to about stuff in life. But this is a good one. And so there's definitely a lot of different ways that we can kind of approach this subject. So I want to talk about it on a couple of different levels, and we'll see if maybe it adds some benefit. So let's start off, just general healthy boundaries. They're going to look a little bit different for everybody, right? Why are they important? Well, they're important because they keep us healthy. Healthy boundaries, one, they keep us healthy, but two, they keep our relationships healthy, right? When we have healthy boundaries set up, we don't let other people do the really detrimental things to us that maybe we would do if, we're not paying attention, right? We don't let people walk on us the same way or disrespect us on a regular basis or do unhealthy things and to manipulate us, those kind of things. When we set up those healthy boundaries, we're setting up kind of guardrails and barriers against those kinds of things. So generally speaking in life, healthy boundaries are a really, really good thing to have. And I have healthy boundaries set up with pretty much everybody. It was a little weird setting them up with my family because we didn't have those as kids and growing up and into my early adulthood. And so a lot of things changed with those relationships in terms of what I would accept, what I would not accept, and me being okay with the actions and words of the people that are important to me, right? And so that's definitely changed a lot of friendships as well. I had some friendships that were on the verge, and some of them stuck around, which is great. I said, hey, these are my boundaries. This is what I'm okay to put up with. This is what I'm not okay to put up with. You can respect that or you cannot. And some of them said, hey, you know what? We're friends. This is important to me. I'm going to respect those boundaries. I'm going to respect the things that you've asked of me. And we're still friends to this day. And some of them did not, and we are not, right? And I think that's kind of the scary part about instituting those healthy boundaries sometimes is we can lose people. Because, sometimes we're just not more important than their behaviors that they're used to, their learned behaviors, their coping mechanisms, whatever it might be. And so that's one thing there. But with bodybuilding in particular and family, the one healthy boundary I see is people who are competing, their families really love to shit on the sport or their lifestyle or what's going on. Now, is that sometimes warranted and valid? Yes, unfortunately it is. Some of us do not always have the healthiest, relationship with competing. We're doing it for the wrong reasons, or we're, it's really having a negative impact on other parts of our lives. And bodybuilding, it's not very balanced, especially when we're competing and we're competing at a high level. It happens. So it can be really hard when people are saying that to be supportive or to be like, fuck yeah, bodybuilding, let's do this. And so it's one of those things, like, we have to kind of try and understand it from both sides. Now, our family, they see things from their perspectives. We see things from our perspectives. Having those healthy boundaries is important, but we also want to make sure that, we're communicating when we make them, right? We don't want to lose out on our family because we're unable to communicate and say, hey, fuck you, accept this or I'm out, right? So we want to absolutely say, hey, look, you don't have to love what I do. You don't have to understand everything, but I need you guys to support me through this because it's important to me, right? I need you to not, try and, undermine my preps or my dieting phases or those kinds of things. I need you to understand that, and so sometimes it's simply about communication, right? Communication solves a lot of things, and that can be hard because we don't always want to communicate, but when we're setting those healthy boundaries, it's important that we do so with communication. Because it can be very difficult when the people who are important to you don't understand and support why you're doing things. Big thing going back to communication though, they have to understand it to support it, right? Now, if they're just choosing not to support you, even after the fact, that's a different thing. And then that's a decision that you have to make on whether or not you're going to continue to deal with that, or you're going to be like, look, we're going to start putting a little bit more space in between us until we can get on the same page with these things, right? And so creating healthy boundaries is really important for your success as a human being, because when we're constantly getting shit on, or the things that we love are getting shit on, it's very mentally and emotionally draining and fatiguing. And we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up to be in the best place possible, right? A lot of us have family. I don't have a family or kids, but a lot of you guys have families and kids, right? You have people that you still need to pour out into. And so it's really important that you have something to pour out into those, loved ones and those people that are important to you in your life, right? Same thing with friends. Friends can be the same way. They might not understand it, but remember, start with explaining. Set boundaries, say, hey, look, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's important to me that, at the very least, it's important to me that you're supportive, at the very least that you're not knocking it down and breaking me down with it, right? Setting up those boundaries and just letting them know, I need this from you if we're going to continue to be friends right now. I need this from you if we're going to continue to be close. There's nothing wrong with setting healthy boundaries. A lot of times it can feel like you're being an asshole, or you can feel like you're being kind of shitty with them. But the truth of the matter is you're respecting yourself enough, you're respecting the relationship enough to say, hey, look, this is important to me, this is what I need, because it's becoming unhealthy on this other end. It's making me feel like less of a person. It's making me feel worse about these things, right? And the way we're going about it is it's making me feel more negative than positive. And so sometimes that can be really, really important. So generally speaking, bodybuilders, preps, diets, all that stuff, it's important to have healthy boundaries set up so that you can have that positive reinforcement to get to your goals and really enjoy the process, right? But what about, because I work with a lot of coaches as well. The coach, not really. But I also know that a lot of other coaches that are out there, especially those of you who are starting to become more popular and you're starting to get a little bit more client base. I got a little bit of sweat on my upper lip there. You guys make me really uncomfortable. Sorry. And it's that one's hard too, because I've been there and I get that. So setting healthy boundaries with your clients and your coach, right? Making sure that you know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So for me, that meant setting up hard times and days for check-ins, right? Saying these are the days that we check in, these are the times. As a coach, it's important, again, that I'm not always pouring out, but I have something coming back in. I have something to pour out. So setting up some structure to my work day so that I have a semblance of work-life balance is really, really important, so that I can make sure that when I wake up in the morning and I come in here to work, I have something to give to my clients. I have something to offer, and I'm not just pouring from an empty cup, right? So it's really important that I have that. It's the same, I have a day off now. I don't work on this day, right? That's important, because nothing works unless you do as a coach. So one of the things that I would encourage you is, one, make sure that you're setting up professional healthy boundaries, right? Don't do inappropriate shit. That's number one. But two, make sure that you're setting up those boundaries and those expectations with your clients and the people that you're working with. Because at the end of the day, nothing else works if you don't. Oh God! There's somebody was asking me about when my voice cracks. You're welcome. But your clients have an expectation of you, right? They're paying for a service. Yes, absolutely, 100%. But as a coach, we do so much more than just tell people macros. A lot of my clients have become my friends. And so when they check in, I could give them numbers, but anybody can give them numbers, right? I don't want to be just a person who gives them numbers. And I'm sure a lot of you who are passionate about coaching and helping people, you don't want to be that person that just gives them numbers. So sometimes establishing healthy boundaries is very, very pivotal to you actually being able to help them to the best of your ability, right? Now, there's definitely things that we want to have boundaries on in terms of our scope of practice. I am not a psychological professional, right? I am not in a place to where I can say, oh, you have an eating disorder, let me deal with that. Let me help you with that. Fuck no, that's out of my scope of practice. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? I'm not about it. The doctor says something, I don't like it. Doesn't fucking matter, right? That's a healthy boundary. Doctor wins every single time. MD over Steve B. every time, right? So having healthy boundaries in your practices and the things that you're doing as well can be really, really important. So in general, healthy practices, healthy boundaries, really, really important to making sure that we're living a healthy, fulfilling, balanced life. So, but it looks like I'm getting low on time here, guys, so I'm gonna end it right there. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. All right.